Stencyl is a really simple, powerful game-making engine. Today, I'm going to be building a block breaker game. It's great to get to know the physics of Stencyl and how objects interact with each other. It's a simple game. It's something fun to do. I will include a link to all of the assets in the description so you can grab all these items. They're all either Creative Commons or public domain. That being said, let's get started. Click here to create a game. Blank game. Perfect. Next. And I'm going to name it Block Breaker because I'm making a block breaker game. And I'm going to leave this standard stuff alone. Create. Here we are. So we have no scenes. A scene is a level usually. So I'm going to click right here and getting started. And I would always stick to naming it level 1, level 2, because it can get complicated quickly if you do not. Level 1, it is create. And here's our blank level. Good to go. All right, I'm going to hit save. You'll notice I do that a lot. Going to head back to dashboard, and I'm going to start loading our sprites, our actor types, as Stencyl calls them, our characters. So actor types, and click. Well, what is my actor? It's going to be a paddle. So create. And I get to click right here to load up an image. So here's this, and click here to add a frame. I only have one frame, not going to be a multi-frame thing, right? Maybe if it was a GIF, it would have a multiple frame, so it would be a multi-frame situation. You can change the scaling, but you could also change it within the scene itself, and I'll show you what I mean. This means my whatever image I load is going to be 1/4 the size, not 4 times as big, but 1/4 the size as the image I load. And I think that will actually work for... Where's downloads? This PC. Downloads. There we are. For the paddle, because I remember it being somewhat large. There's the paddle. Add. Alright. And I'm going to now go ahead and add this to our scene by clicking this button way up here. Level 1. Okay. Now, I want to only click once. If you have a background, it won't let you click, and you would have to go over here and click on layer 0. Click once. I'm going to go over here, and now I'm going to resize the item. Be careful though, because if you start like trying to pull it and let go, depending on what mode you are in, it will duplicate objects relatively quickly. So be aware. I'm going to go ahead and shrink and shrink. I don't want to paddle quite so large. That's looking good to me. Something like that. Great. Now, I'm going to hit save again, saving all of that. We got our paddle. Now, let's go ahead and in actor types, add the other character we will need, which is a ball. Okay, so now we have a ball character. I'm going to click here to add an image. And here again, add the frame. Alright, I'm going to use the same thing. It's going to be 1/4 the scale because if I remember, my image is fairly large. And again, all the assets are linked in the description. There it is. Add. And I'm going up here and hitting add to scene. Which scene? That scene. Click. And there we go. Okay, I'm going to click and let's resize. Something like that looks good to me. I'm going to take it down right around here. All right, there we go. So that's our paddle and that's the ball. Let's go ahead and start with their animation. So I'm going to hit save again, and I'm going to head over to paddle first. Okay, appearance is not what we need, and if you lost this, right, oh no, I just go back over here, double click on paddle. Okay, and I'm going to go seek out events. Now events is where we start placing our code. So what event is going to get triggered? We got to click way up here, add event, and what we want this event to be is we want to add the ability to control our paddle to go left and right. So basics, when updating. When updating means constantly, every millisecond, every frame, 30 times a second. Check if this is happening, right? So it's a constant thing we're looking for, which makes sense. We want to constantly check if the user is attempting to tell the paddle to go left and right. And so when I click on that, when updating, And I'm going to rename this so I know what it is and just say control. Okay, so what this is going to be is me controlling my paddle left and right. When updating, what do I want to do? Well, I want a few things. I'm definitely going to want an if, because if the user is holding the right key, go right. I also want an otherwise if. I don't want two ifs, because if I'm holding left and right at the same time, it's going to try to do both things and the paddle wouldn't even move at all. So I'm going to force the user to pick one. So if the user is holding right, if the user's holding the right key, it's going to ignore this block. It will never check it. This block only gets checked if this is false. So if the user's not holding the right key, then it will check the left. That way we can avoid the situation where they're holding two keys down, the computer gets grumpy, yada yada. All right, now if, and what do I want to check? Well, I have two options here. I'll show you them both. I'm going to go over to user input, way over here. I'm going to say control is down, but not control. We're going to click on the word control, and then I'm going to click again, and I want to choose right. Okay. Another way to do this, another option for doing this, is if I click down here, and then I select through this little menu, right? User input, and there's control is down. I don't want control. I want left. So right and left. And then let's start talking speed. Actors, I clicked over here, and then motion. Actors, motion. I want 3 of these. Set speed X. So we're going to set the speed of the X axis. So way up here, I'm actually going to set it to 0. And that makes sure the second the user lifts their finger off the key, the paddle actually stops and it doesn't just keep going forever. Here, set speed X to, okay, well, if the right key is down, we want them to go right. So if you think of an XY axis, if you add to X, well, that would be in the right direction if you were looking at a piece of paper. Whereas X minus 10 means I have to move to the left. So I want to go right. I'm going to say, let's say 15 for our paddle. And then left, to go to the left, I need to subtract 15. Okay? And that should be good on our movement for our paddle. And hit save game. We also want to get into the physics, like I've said. Physics, what do we want? Well, we don't really want our platform to be able to be pushed, like the ball moving it out of the way. We also don't want our platform to be able to rotate. Okay, so I'm going to take care of both of those immediately. And that is looking good. We won't need these. Dampening will be fine. We don't want it to be bouncy. It doesn't need to have any friction. And heaviness is great. All right, we're good to go there. Now let's head over to the ball. Okay, and I'm going to go into events. So for the ball, what do we want to have happen? Well, I want to hit add event, basics, except this time I don't need to update the ball constantly. I want the ball to be able to do its own thing, honestly. I need it to start, though, at a particular speed, right? And retain that speed, but I just need it to start at a certain speed. So not every second start at that speed. When it's created, have this speed. So on creation, what do I want to do? I'm going to go over to actors. I'm going to go over to motion. And I'm actually going to grab set velocity. Okay. And degrees. That way we're going to have the ball not start out a perfect drop, right? Maybe a little off to the side. Makes things more interesting. And for speed, I'm going to go ahead and do 15 here. So when created. And we could rename this, I don't know, drop, because it's that starting drop of the ball. Apply changes. Okay. And like always, I'm going to hit save. All right. Now let's head over to the physics of our ball object. I click on physics. Okay. That's good, and that's good. Heaviness. I want our paddle to be heavier than our ball. Okay. So I'm going to just decrease the mass of this. Maybe 6. I also would like 0 friction. right? Because friction would slow the item down, and bounciness, 1 would be 100%, so I'm actually going to set that to, well, 1. And this is looking pretty good to me. All right, let's give it a shot. Let's see. Perfect. Let's see what this looks like so far. Hopefully it even works. Test scene. And there we go. Goodbye, ball! So far, so good. Okay, we have a few other things to do now. We're going to need to add, we want to make sure the ball doesn't just fly off the screen so easily. So to do that, I'm headed over here to dashboard. I'm going to go ahead and close this and close paddle. And I'm going to add some more actor types. Okay. And first off is going to be the left wall. Create. And this actor type contains an animation. Click and click. Again, the animations I'm using, I will... For scale here, this one I want 1. I don't want to shrink it. It's the perfect size already. The animations I'm using, I will have linked in the description. Choose image. Blue wall is what I'm going to use. Open. There it is. Beautiful. And add. Okay. Now add to scene. What scene? That scene. Okay. I'm going to use, with this one up here, it should say, nope, show grid. Where is it? Snap to grid. See how it helps me kind of navigate? I'm going to be using that to get it how I want. Perfect. And I didn't think about this. I shouldn't have named this left wall. I should have named this wall. So I'm going to fix that. Save dashboard. I right click on this. If you're on a Mac, that would be hitting Command and then the mouse. And I'm going to click rename. I'm going to click rename. Okay. And like I said, I should have just named that wall. All right. Excellent. And I'm going to do a roof. Roof. Creative, I know. I'm going to click here and here for my animation. I want it to be 1. Choose image, and there's my roof. Open. Add. There we are. Add to scene. Yep, that scene. Okay. And right here is perfect. Okay. All right. Now, what we need to do, save all that. I guess I'll start with the roof. I'm going to go to, we don't need any events, but we will need, we won't need any events. We will need physics. Okay? So what do we want? Cannot move. Our roof, we don't want it to be able to move. We don't want the ball to bounce into it and push it. I'm also going to set friction for that to 0. Okay? Go to head over to the wall. Exact same thing. Physics. Cannot move. Friction. Oops. Heaviness. Nope. Material. Friction to 0. Save game. Let's see if the ball will now bounce off items. Or the sides. Boom. 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 And we could also make it so the paddle can't go beyond. But it doesn't really matter if the paddle doesn't go beyond, because that's not going to be the game. They can take the paddle all the way off their screen they want. The goal is to eliminate the blocks. So this is working great. I'm going to exit that. Yeah. Save again, just in case. All right, and now let's go ahead and add the items that we are going to be trying to eliminate, the blocks, I guess. So I click on dashboard, I click here to make do, and then I'm just going to call this block, create. And with that created, I need to add the animation, this actor type. Click here to add a frame. Okay. Choose image. Okay. And small block is what I am looking for. I am scaling it down by 4. But perfect. Add. Great. And add to scene. This one. Okay. Okay, so that is looking... And I'm just going to start kind of stringing these across somewhat randomly, just to make it interesting. Alright, I'm sure you are creating a work of art, but that is perfect for me. So, now we have all these items, and notice I kept clicking, so they're all the same actor, right? And that means we can head over to block, and now we're going to do something, well, I guess a bit unique. Collisions is not what I wanted. Events, and then now that I'm in events, add event, and now that I'm in add event, and now I go to collisions. And we want to know anything else. So, hey, if you hit anything else, because the only thing that's even able to hit these is the ball, right? The paddle can only go left and right. The balls aren't moving. So the ball is what would hit them. So if this item collides with something else, that's good enough. When this actor hits something else, when it hits another actor, what should it do? I'm going to go over to actors, okay? And properties, actors and properties. And now that we are here, we're going to be a murderer. It's going to die, right? So the block is going to poof. The block is gone. It has disappeared on us. So kill self when it's in contact. Now, let's go into the physics. Let's make sure that it cannot be pushed, right? Nothing like this. Not that that would really matter anyways, because it's going to disappear immediately. Also friction. Let's not have it slow down the ball at all. So I'm going to set that at 0. Okay. I'm going to hit save. And let's see what the game is like now. Boom. Boom. Whoa. And we have a block breaking game. Probably could have done a bit better job with resizing the ball. But, ta-da! Success. Now, there's a ton of cool things you can do with this, right? There's a ton of ways to customize it, to make it your own. Maybe I should have sped up the ball. I certainly should have done a better job with it, shaping it. And even adding multiple levels, because after all, a scene is a level. Regardless, if you're still watching this, if this was helpful, or even if it wasn't, if you're watching it, you should hit like, you should hit subscribe. It helps me, it gives me warm fuzzies, it motivates me, all of that good stuff, and hugs. If you make something super cool, you should post about it below. I would love to hear it.